everyone was very nice. I think that people knew or had an inkling that this was something special. To me, everything about it was special because I'd never been in a film before. It was a very nice group of people.
Medication time. Medication time.
And the winner is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I was treated really well. There weren't very many women on the set because most of the characters are men, but I was treated really well by everyone.
Do you want to say something to the group, Mr. McMurphy?
Well, yeah. I'd like to know why none of the guys never told me that you, Miss Ratchet, and the doctors could keep me here till you're good and ready to turn me loose.
All you had to do was be a human being with your eyes open, reacting to everything that was happening around you. I mean, actress or not, it was so real that it was easy. We went right to the set, which was inside of Oregon State Hospital in an operating hospital. It was real. You felt the reality of where you were.
Hello everyone, I'm Dustin Richardson from the Burbank International Film Festival, and today Real Conversations continues with our next special guest, Mimi Sarkisian. Mimi is an actor known for her role as Nurse Pilbow in the groundbreaking film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. The film became one of the most iconic and successful stories in cinema, sweeping the Oscars by winning Academy Awards in all 5 major categories. I'm very excited to be talking with her today and hear any stories she has to share about the process of making such an incredible film. Hello, Mimi. Thank you so much for talking with me today. How are you?
I'm fine, Dustin. How are you?
I'm great. Glad to hear it. So let's jump right into it. Okay. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. What was the process like of getting cast and preparing for your role as Nurse Pilbow?
Okay, well, I was in the play in San Francisco. I was hired to be the understudy. It ran for over 5 years, and I was the understudy for the first couple of years. And then when the actress who was doing the part moved to another show, they let me do the part. And so I did it for 2.5 years, I think. And I believe that the producers and directors came to see somebody else, somebody who was up for one of the major roles. After that, I got a call and they said, would you be interested in coming to LA and for an interview? So they flew me to LA. I met Michael, the other producer, Michael Douglas, and I believe Miloš. And then it was very sweet. I didn't have to read. I didn't have to do anything. They had already seen me do the part in the play. And then I was sent home, and it was almost a whole year before I heard that they had given me the part. And I think part of the reason was that they wanted to hire Nurse Ratched first. They wanted to cast Nurse Ratched before they decided on the person who would be next to her in so many scenes, so that the two together would look good together. So I think if they had hired someone with darker coloring, maybe I wouldn't have gotten the part. But Louise was lighter, fairer, and so I was a contrast sitting there next to her. I don't know. That's just my guess.
That's amazing. So you started in the play, then get cast in the movie. Was anyone else in the movie? Did they go through a similar process like that or no? Was that just you?
A couple of people were in the New York production by the same production team that did the San Francisco production. I think it was Danny DeVito was in the New York production, and one other person, I can't remember. Oh, the man who played Scanlon, Delos Smith, I think is his name. He was, I think, in it. Part of the problem with talking about something that you did over 40 years ago is that you remember things, and then what you don't remember, sometimes your imagination fills in the blanks, So I have to be careful what's fact and what's folklore, But anyway, so a couple of other people were in a similar production, but no one from my company. And we had some really good actors over the years in my company, but somehow I was the one that got to do it.
Mr. McMurphy, your medication.
What's in the horse pill?
It's just medicine. It's good for you.
Yeah, but I don't like the idea of taking something if I don't know what it is.
Don't get upset, Mr. McMurphy.
I'm not getting upset, Miss Pilbow.
So once you got cast, what was the process? How did you prepare for the film?
I was cast, and then there was only a couple of weeks until they started shooting. And I was in school, so I had to drop my classes and get out of the play. Then it was time to go. So it happened quickly. when it finally happened, it happened quickly.
Wow, that's amazing. So was there not really much like rehearsal before shooting? You just went into it? Or?
The wonderful thing is when we got to Oregon, we went right to the set, which was inside of Oregon State Hospital in an operating hospital. It was real. You felt the reality of where you were. And I believe we had 2 full weeks of rehearsal before any shooting started. And that was apparently, see, I didn't know it was the first film I'd ever been in. I didn't know that was a luxury, that usually you don't get that. Most of the time, I think, was spent on the group meeting scenes because there's a lot of overlapping conversation. And so those had to be worked out. And during that time, I believe we also got to go into different parts of the hospital that were real. I remember going to and sitting in on a group meeting. And it was really kind of amazing because I was familiar with the story and the script because of the play. And there was a scene in the play when they did the group meeting, the character and the words were almost identical to the scene in the play. And it just blew my mind how real it was. People who worked in the hospital also appeared in the movie. The superintendent of the hospital played Dr. Spivey. And when there was the scene where the doctors are talking about McMurphy and trying to decide whether he was crazy, those were real doctors from the hospital. And several of the patients played extra parts in the film.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That must have been exciting for all of them.
Yes, it was for all of us.
Well, what was it like working with fellow castmates and the director and everyone?
Everyone was very nice. I think that people knew or had an inkling that this was something special. To me, everything about it was special because I'd never been in a film before. I was treated really well. There weren't very many women on the set because most of the characters are men, but I was treated really well by everyone. It was a very nice group of people. So I was very happy the whole time.
You can go home anytime you want.
That's it.
You're bullshitting me.
No.
He's bullshitting me, right?
No, Randall. He's telling you the truth. As a matter of fact, there are very few men here who are committed.
You know, it's so funny. When I came back to San Francisco to the play, several of my friends said, "Why don't you just sit there?" Which I thought was so funny. And I said, well, that's what they told me to do. I think they expected me to try to ad lib more or do something, but that was my role. I mean, that nurse didn't really say very much. That was, she was just the sidekick to the big nurse.
Yeah, exactly. And the pill giver.
Yeah, right.
That's one of my favorite scenes is when Jack Nicholson comes into your room and then you come around the corner and you get startled by him being there. That's such a fun moment.
You know what? And I have to tell you what happened when we shot that.
I can't even hear myself think already.
Stay back.
Oh, excuse me, ma'am. I just wanted to...
Stay back.
Huh?
Patients aren't allowed in the nurse's station.
Well, I just wanted to turn...
When you're outside, we'll discuss whatever problem you have, okay? The patients are not allowed in the nurse's station, all right?
That was one of the scenes that was very close to a scene from the play. And in the play, I walked in and McMurphy snuck up behind me. I turned around and screamed. So when it was time to shoot the scene in the movie, I said, well, how loud do you want me to scream? And they said, well, just do what you did. I said, okay, but it was pretty loud. Okay, just scream. So the first time we did it, I screamed the way I screamed on the stage. And everybody, especially the sound man with the headset, everybody jumped. And it was, and no one in the theater had ever told me to be quieter. They always said, be louder. So it was way too loud. So after that, I had to tone it down a bit. And learn. See, that was one of the newest concepts that I learned being there, is that people talked in regular conversational tone and volume. It was different from the theater where you're always being told to project everything. It's like, no, you just talk. You just talk. The mic picks it up. The mic, we can be adjusting things if we need to. So I thought that was interesting. That was a learning curve for me.
Anything you had to get used to, like blocking wise, being different too as well? Because all the equipment around must have been interesting.
Well, that was easier to learn because, I mean, most of the time I'm sitting in the chair next to Nurse Ratched. So there were a few scenes that had to be blocked, but because we had rehearsal, a lot of that stuff had been worked out before we started shooting.
Scanlon, who's pitching the opener?
Medication time.
This isn't a queen.
Medication time.
I'm a
Jonathan.
queen.
Medication.
I think the thing that was the most amazing to me is that because I never really considered myself an actress. I was a dancer, and then I injured my knee, and that kind of ended my dancing days. I loved the theater, though. I loved the physical space of the theater. That's how I got involved in all of this. Because I never really considered myself an actress, I went to this saying, gosh, I hope I'm going to be able to do it. I hope I'm going to be able to do justice to this role and this opportunity that I'm given. The environment was so real. And also Miloš had, I believe, such a clear idea in his head about what he wanted, that all you had to do was be a human being with your eyes open, reacting to everything that was happening around you. I mean, actress or not, it was so real that it was easy.
Let's get into the heart of this. I'm wondering if there's any stories you can share with us about your time working on this film.
Well, let's see. Gosh, there's so many memories. But one day, I guess Jack had been to the dailies and he came back. There's one or two seconds in the movie where there's a close-up on me. It's in one of the group meetings when the patient is getting up. One of the chronic patients is getting up and he's kind of walking toward Nurse Ratched, and the orderlies have to move him by. And there's a shot of me just looking at him passing.
It's a lot of baloney. It's a lot of baloney.
So after the dailies, Jack came up to me the next day and he said, "Hey, Memes, I saw your close-up. Yeah. Just wait till it gets to the drive-in. 8 Pontiacs from eye tooth to eye tooth," which just really cracked me up. He was a lot of fun. He was playing a fun character, tragic character, but a fun character. And wow, there was a lot of laughter on the set, especially at the end of each take. There was a lot of laughter.
If Mr. McMurphy doesn't want to take his medication orally, I'm sure we can arrange that he can have it some other way. But I don't think you'd like it, Mr. McMurphy.
You'd like it, wouldn't you?
Well, give it to me.
Good. Very good.
Yummy.
So one day we were shooting one of the group meetings, and it was one of the livelier ones. And one particular actor was going on and on and on and on and on, and take after take after take, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And after one take, several of us looked at Miloš like, "What the heck? I mean, are you?" And it was so cute because he just went like this. And then we realized, oh, so you're going to piece together what you want. And he did, and he made the guy look brilliant. So, I have a healthy respect for post-production people and their job, because it really makes a difference. The only thing that was shot out of sequence, as far as I know, was the boat trip, the Depot Bay thing. They did that at the end, because of course they had to move the whole company. But they tried really hard to shoot in sequence, and that's difficult. It's time consuming, to do that. But they did, and I think that helped all of us, because when you don't shoot in sequence and then you play a scene and then something earlier happens, you think, oh, I would have done that differently, if I had known. So I think the shooting in sequence really helped.
And you mentioned a little bit about this in the beginning, but I was wondering if you could go into a little more detail. While working on the film, was there a real sense of it being as huge of a success as it eventually was?
See, for me, I had no idea. I think there were other people who knew it was going well. The scenes were powerful, but I don't think anybody knew it was going to go as far as it did. I remember the first time I saw it pieced together, there was a screening, and it was at Francis Coppola's house, because he had a little screening room in his house. He wasn't there, but they let us use the screening room. So I saw it, and I saw the whole movie, and I thought, well, that was good. That was good. I see how it works. But I think it wasn't finished. I mean, it didn't have music, and I believe it didn't have music, and it didn't have a lot of the post-production stuff that happens. And then the next time I saw it was when they showed it at the Directors Guild Theater in LA. And that's when I felt the full effect of it. And I thought, wow, that's really something. yeah, I guess it was.
Yes, definitely. That's amazing. Must have been really touching and surreal to see yourself in a film like that after everything you went through.
Yeah, what was interesting is that when I saw it the first time, the pieced together one, it was easier to just look at myself and say, oh, I should have done this or I should have done that. But when I saw it, the finished product, I kind of got lost in it and lost the fact that it was me and really got more involved with the story and the flow of it all. And that's what made me feel it was powerful, is seeing it like that I could forget that it was me, and just see a character and see all the characters together.
Your hand is staining my window.
Sorry, man.
All right.
Sorry.
Mr. McMurphy, your medication.
Thank you for watching the Burbank International Film Festival's Real Conversations. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel, and also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And learn everything you need to know about the festival at burbankfilmfest.org.